So lovely to see you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for visiting today. I thought we would paint together. If you have been a BFF for a little bit now, you know that I like to do process videos with voiceover, and that's because I'm still learning the painting process, and so a lot of times when I paint, I'm kind of just going with it. So it's hard for me to paint and talk. So doing voiceover or text is helpful because I already know what I did. But sometimes when I'm jonesing to paint, but I don't have a particular project in mind, or I have too many projects and I just want something to relax. So when I just want to get to it, I pick up my Watercolor With Me books by Dana Fox. So this one in the forest. What's nice too is she has like chapters. So at the beginning of each section or chapter, there are little exercises that you can work through before getting to the actual projects, and it's very helpful as well. So I really love these series. There's in the forest, in the ocean, and in the jungle. I don't have in the jungle yet. So I think I picked out a fairly simplistic one that we can work on. It should be pretty easy to follow along. Honestly, all of them are. The tutorials are very simplistic and fun. What's amazing about these books is they are student grade watercolor paper, the entire book. So it's crazy. Normally, student grade watercolor paper is like $7 for maybe 20 sheets, and this has like 115 pages in it. So like 4 or 5, is that it? 4 or 5 student grade paper packets in here, and on top of that there's sketches in half of the book as well that we can follow along. You don't have to draw, it's already done for us. If I want to paint but I don't necessarily want to take the time to sketch and plan and overthink, because I like to do that. I like to overthink my projects. So, and I only have allotted time to paint, so it's nice to just get to it instead of overthinking that whole time and then realizing I have no more time to paint because I already used it up thinking about painting. We can do this together. If you are working on a different project and you're just here to hang out, let me know in the comments below what you are working on. I absolutely love projects, whether it's leather craft, welding, beadwork, crochet, whatever it is. I would love to know what you're working on. It is very important for BFFs to support each other. So, comment below what you're working on. So let's check this out. Alright, so like I said, watercolor with me in the forest. Like I said, there are chapters or sections. So there's a wet on dry chapter, wet on wet, painting fur, ink and wash. These are watercolor techniques that she goes over in depth. This is a practice, so this is the wet on dry. So she walks you through it, explaining how to get the lightest color and build up. So these were already provided, and these sections were blank, and I had to fill them in. Along with this was provided, and then this one was blank. So you can exercise before getting to the actual projects. This is one that I did. Lots of fun. So she provides you with a sketch. This was outlined in grey, so you don't have to draw, and the colors are provided along with the size brushes that you can use and step by step instructions, and then obviously an example or goal and what you're going for. So this is an example of the grey sketch. Don't know if the camera is picking it up very well, but it's nice that it's grey because watercolor is transparent. So if it were black, it would be harder to paint over, which is why she has it a light tone for you. This is another one that I finished. So this is the one I thought we would do together. It's a little chickadee. There's only 3 colors necessary to paint him, so very easy. So if you wanted to try to paint it yourself, you can sketch out a tiny chickadee if you would like, and you only need 3 colors, a brown, a black and a green. It says that we will only need 1 size 6 brush. Let's go ahead and get our paints and water ready. We'll need 2 glasses of water, 1 for cleaning our brush, and the other for those wet on wet techniques. I have a rag to clean my brush or dry necessary. And I have more than enough paintbrushes. I'll be using my Etchr Lab paints. So, to tell you the truth, I don't remember which one is size 6. My dynamic distraction brushes have kind of faded. I feel like that is an 8, it's fairly large, so maybe this is the 6. I don't know. We'll try this one and see. So starting out on the first instruction Dana Fox provides, fill the entire belly of the bird with clean water until the paper is damp but not soaking wet. So when working with watercolor, you'll notice there are different techniques for when using the water. So applying water to the paper, you don't want it to puddle. So you can look at it and tell if the paper is shiny, then you know it will do a certain technique. Whereas when it's puddling, it will create like massive blooms because the paint will go into the water and just kind of bleed out quickly. So she wants us to do it to the point where it's shiny. So it's controlled, but not as controlled as it would be if it were wet on dry paper, if that makes sense. So I'm adding water to my brush. And then I'm going to apply it to the belly of the bird. So it's quite wet. I'm going to thin it out all over the belly. I'm going to try to make sure that the paper is shiny, but not puddling. You also want to make sure to keep to the section which you desire, because again, the water will take the pigment wherever it is. There we go. So now the paper is shiny. Then, step 2. Add a small amount of diluted burnt umber directly to the wet area on the paper. So noticing too, this part of the belly is still fairly white, so I'll try to keep the burnt umber on the side. Just reread it, it's gone a little dry. That's one thing too, is that you have to watch your paper because it can dry fairly quickly. Also to note, this is student grade paper, and so it cannot handle everything that white cotton paper could handle. Something to note. So she says to dilute this, and I just realized I did not. But that's alright, because I'll try to drag it out and dilute it. Try to fix my mistake. I noticed that looking at the sketch, my sketch does not have a butt. I wonder if that is in the instructions somewhere. I don't know if you can see that, but there is no bottom to my bird, and hers does have a bottom. So let's add a little more right here maybe. What is it that you are working on? Are you working on a project right now? Do you have something in mind? How has your day been thus far? All right. Step 3. For the darker right side of the belly, add a touch more burnt umber pigment and allow the light and dark values to blend together. This is the magic of wet on wet. So it looks like I did it already. I skipped steps without realizing. Step 4. Let the area sit for a few minutes until dry to the touch. Then paint clean water on the black section of the bird, including the head, wing, and tail. So the reason why she wants us to wait before adding water here is because this is still wet. So if we added water, the water would pool at this pigment and we would end up having brown in these leaves that she's instructed to keep black. That's why she wants us to wait it out. I wonder if we can skip ahead while we're waiting. I do that with a lot of my projects. If something on the page is on the other side of the scene, I might skip around to certain sections. Wet the leaves with water next and drop in sap green. When all the wet layers are dry to the touch, you can add the final details with the tip of your brush and more pigmented shades of your mixed colors. So let's do the green. I might get a smaller brush just to get a little bit more control. This may or may not be my 4. I don't know. So I'll do some water on the leaves, and we will put some green in it. Try to dilute the green this time. I don't have sap green necessarily. Etchr Lab has a very vibrant green, and I can add a little bit, a touch of brown to it, and that will get me a little bit more of a realistic green. And we're doing a very light shade because the details of the leaf will go on top once this is dry. Let's add some water in here. The beauty of these books as well is you can change the colors. Obviously, she has it set up for you in a tutorial kind of setup, so that way you can follow along if you are fairly new to watercolor and new to like color theory. But if you are an avid painter, cultured, I don't know how to explain it, intermediate maybe, in watercolor, then you could easily change the colors to anything that you wanted. And this just kind of, for myself, it eases my mind a little bit. She has already drawn this out for you, and you can just get right to painting. It saves a lot of time when you are someone who likes to overthink sketching. It's also nice if you're someone who has trouble sketching, maybe you really love to just paint and you're not comfortable drawing. So this is kind of nice because it's already drawn for you, so you can just get right to what you are comfortable with. Reading the instructions, I don't see anything about the bottom of the bird. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in. And we're going to do the umber, I think. A little bit of umber. And then hers is fairly dark, and I assume because it's under the branch. So I might add a little bit of dark brown. While it is still wet, Okay. So this is fairly dry, the top part. Let's go ahead and add the water to start the black feathers. I will skip these feathers for now because I just painted the bird's bottom. So adding in some water and skipping this large part of the face. And then we'll add in the black. Something to think about: if you wanted it to be fairly grey, as a new painter, I always just assumed that grey was black thinned out. And I was watching Louise Demasi. She is a watercolor artist. Her videos are available on YouTube. I believe she has a Patreon with classes. But Louise does a video, and I do not remember what it was that I was watching, but she does a video where she uses Prussian blue and a brown, and she makes a very beautiful shade of grey. So just something to think about if you wanted to try it out and you're new to watercolor. It was very illuminating. It's one of my favorite colors to make now. So that has to dry before adding details to it. Let's go back to the leaves. I think we can do more details on it, say the veins of the leaf. So let's get our green again. And make sure that tip is very fine. And she has them coming out of this vein here and down, and then hooking out but not connecting necessarily. I love how simplistic these are. Whenever I paint something, I can't help but go into like excruciating detail. And I find it can be fun, but it's not always relaxing. So I like projects like this that are simple, not overwhelming. Very nice. Right. So that's fairly dry. We'll use the black again. Okay. And then I might add a little more black here because of the shadow. And it looks like his feet are fairly black as well. But I don't know, because watercolor is transparent. I might want to do the brown first and then put black over top. Let's do his beak. So that looks like a nice brown. On the top part. And it looks like black underneath. So I need to be careful. Oh, there we go. Never mind. And that is why you wait for it to dry. So I'm going to try to pick it up. Sometimes when it's fairly wet, it can be picked up. So now we'll have to wait to fix that, because it is most definitely still wet. So right here, it looks a little bit darker and almost brown. Might add a little bit of brown here, just a touch down here. Yeah, let's see about that black. Much better, more controlled. And then the eye is just this cute little thing. Good. Do the branch. So the branch is like two-toned. It is a lighter brown. And then looks like a darker brown on top. So just kind of add it in while it's wet. Just here and there. and we'll wait for that to dry. The face has a little bit more color here. Feel like I'm going into detail mode now, like wanting it to be just like hers. That's still fairly wet. If I want, I could add more veins. Because that is just what I like to do, is make more work for myself. So I can have these come out. This is about the time that I don't like it. She had it perfect and now I have taken it too far. Or I should have looked up a reference so that way it was more realistic. I just thought I would do a doodle like over top, and now it's no longer cute. Go figure. I think it's just me being antsy because I'm waiting on things to dry. Normally, if I was up in my studio, I'm actually in the basement right now. If I was up in the studio and I was working on a commission, I would just pull something else out and just work on it. And instead, I'm just trying to find something else. With a tiny brush, I could probably do the feet. So it looks like they come down like this. And then I go back and just kind of blend it out a little. Perfect. And then the chest has those tiny details, so let's add those in. So it looks like little tufts. Little feathers that tuff out. Right. And then the feathers on the black. I might try to put a little brown in it. So these are like angled a little bit, so it's a little bit of a half trapezoid almost. Cute. I put a little more brown on the beak since I had to blot it out. Right, and then let's do that shading again underneath for the belly, this shadow, this will shadow as well. I'm gonna need a little bit more water. Some watercolor techniques don't work as well on student grade paper because the paper is not as forgiving. But this project by itself is very simplistic, so this is really nice to jump into. If you're new to watercolor, this is easy to follow along. It's easy to switch up and change as well. Just kind of adding my own little details, having fun. Looking very nice, very cute. They're at a very good price point. I can't remember how much I paid for it. I want to say about $20 or so, which is phenomenal based on what it is. If you think about it, I'm not sure if the price has gone up because student grade or any kind of watercolor paper has gone up in price because of shortages and whatnot. Either way, it's still fascinating to have it at a price that it is. So there's 115 pages in this book with roughly 40 projects, and if you paid $7 for 20 pages for student grade, that would mean that you have roughly 5 to 6 of the student grade packets empty, let's say, and because they're empty, you still have to sketch them out and paint them. So I think this is an amazing purchase. if you're new to watercolor, this would be exercise, workshop, investment to your watercolor journey. Right, so I think he is finished. It's very cute, kind of looks the same. I regret the leaves, not gonna lie. I thought I was going to be cute, and now there's just too much going on them. I like hers so much more better. But that's also why I love this book, because I learned so much. It's practice, it's fun, and I had fun with you. If you want to do another one, let me know. It'll give me an excuse to work in them. Not that I need it, they help me out a lot, but it would be nice to do it together. Thank you so much for visiting. Thank you for visiting, dear Beth. If you liked this video and you stuck around, go ahead and check out my coffee shop. I have original pieces there that I have available for purchase. And if you like one of the original pieces but you think, I don't know where I would put this gorgeous piece of art, I also have a Redbubble page where you can get those designs on regular day items, such as cute little zipper pouches and tote bags, tons of stuff. So that's on my Redbubble shop. Brushed Fantasies without the E. Without the E. No E in brushed. let me know if you liked painting together, and we can do another one. But we could also just keep going with the... Sorry, I got distracted with the loop-de-loos. I love this brush. Anyway, I will see you soon, BFF. Thank you for visiting. I had fun together.